like a crazy person.
That's awkward.
It's really fantastic. So I'll just give it 2 more minutes for those other folks to drift in. Hopefully, we didn't lose anybody. Did everyone have a good week?
Pretty good.
Oliver, Rashida, awesome.
Hello.
Hello. Cool. All right, welcome to JavaScript Tuesday, our second attempt at a Google Hangout on Air. So my name is Dan. I host JavaScript Tuesday, and I live in California. I'm in the Bay Area, and right now for work I am a teaching assistant at a dev school. The students are learning JavaScript. You guys are all doing JavaScript. It's going to be awesome. So I'm just going to sort of call on people in alphabetical order. If you just briefly introduce yourself and like what's your name, where are you, like what's your interest in JavaScript? Because some of you I know from previous meetings and some of you are new and a lot of you are new to each other. So Alexandra, welcome back. If you could just introduce yourself.
Hi. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can.
We can.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should get my headphones. Wait, sorry, what are we?
Just
I'm going to be in and out today, but...
Sure. Just briefly, like your name, where are you, and what's your interest in JavaScript?
Okay, so my name is Alexandra, so hi everybody. I'm hailing from Chicago, so if any of you are in Chicago, maybe should connect. And my interest in JavaScript, I mean, how I started, or like what I want to do or learn about,
So
or
just like where you are in the learning process and what your goals are.
okay, I'd say that, I mean, I'm definitely not like a senior with JavaScript. I'm curious about some of the different frameworks. Like I've dabbled a bit in Angular, which will be interesting to see once 2.0 comes out, I think. And then we discussed this a little bit last week, but I'm curious to see what the craze over React is all about. Like D3, right? That's like the visualization thing and stuff. So yeah, I'm learning and trying to see all the cool things we can do.
Very cool. All right. Thanks. That's good. Don't feel like you have to talk forever.
Okay. I was like, sorry. I was like, first I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to say.
No worries. Catherine, would you like to introduce yourself? You can also do it by text if you don't want to talk or your microphone's not working. All right, that's cool. Farish.
I am a networking consultant, systems integrator by day, programmer for about a year and a half now. I'm also officially now a advisor at Code Academy. What that exactly means, I can't describe yet because a lot of it's beta.
Very cool. I remember you were talking about that last week that you might take it, so I guess
Yep.
I guess you did. Oh, well, welcome back, Jesse. Can we hear your voice this week?
Yes, you can. I'm out of the library.
Great.
All right, you ready
Tell
for
us a
the
little about
introduction?
Yeah.
All right. So I am in Salt Lake City right now. I'm originally from Alaska, so I got here about a week ago. Let's see. I've been in software for about 2.5 years. I started with HTML and CSS. Now I've been doing JavaScript for about a year now, and so I don't really know any MV stars. This is the exciting thing about React.js is I'd get to learn a new framework and do some extra stuff with that. But basically, just trying to refine my JavaScript skills here, and yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome back. Monish, you're next in line.
Hey everybody, I'm Monish from India. Just hanging around here to get better at JS and even share my knowledge with everybody. I've mainly been doing Ruby for a while, and thought it's a time to go full stack and get better at JS. So here to share with everybody and as well as learn. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I love having Rubyists here with us. Ruby's my first love. Nan, do you mind saying hello?
No, hello. I'm Nan. I'm in Oakland, and I'm currently working on my final project for an Angular class that I've been taking. And I'm just feeling very ignorant. But anyway, so I'm here to learn JavaScript.
What is your final project, if you don't mind sharing?
My final project is a neighborhood wildlife sighting app, and we will be able to share what we saw, where, when, and who saw it, and stuff like that. And then we can then later on aggregate the data and say, you know, back in November of that year we saw whatever, stuff like that.
Oh, cool. All right. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Oliver, can you introduce yourself? Oh, so you posted here. No mic tonight. Oliver's in Portland, working through Free Code Camp. Awesome. Lots of Free Code Camp people love hanging out here. Good to hear. I don't know anything about Node. Sorry, someone's a new lurker link. Yes, I can. Hold on, I'm going to send this to the Slack channel. I guess we're full. Rashida, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Rashida, and I'm in Atlanta. I'm marketer by day and code newbie by night. So I've taken multiple hiatuses over the past year and a half. I started with HTML and CSS and thought I'd go ahead and conquer my fear of learning JavaScript. So I'm definitely excited and nervous and scared and terrified to be here. So.
Awesome. Welcome. I think we're all in the same boat. I'm also a former marketer. I used to work in bank marketing for a long time. Yeah. Happy to not be doing that anymore.
Yeah, I can't wait till I'm not doing that.
Cool. Well, welcome. And last in line, Tommy.
Yeah, my name is Tommy. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Salesforce consultant by day, code newbie by night. I've had the basics of HTML and CSS down for a while now, and I feel like I have some of the basics of JavaScript down. So I'm just trying to, level up my JavaScript skills and put it to use on a bigger project.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, that's why we're all here to learn together. So I see Catherine posted a little bio in this chat. New York City, all right. Love New Yorkers. Web development and JavaScript for the last few months. Just so far, just vanilla JS and jQuery. Odin Project, awesome. Love Odin Project shoutouts. I actually work for Viking Code School, which is like the paid spin-off of Odin Project. Cool. Thank you, Catherine, for that. I know not everyone's microphones are always like ready to go, and sometimes people are shy, and that's fine. So last week, those of you who were here remember I talked about that I might be trying to find a new host for JavaScript Tuesday, but I've set that aside for now. I'm going to stick with it. However, I did want to ask, does anyone have serious, if you're planning to be involved with the React project, do you have serious problems rebranding JavaScript Tuesday to JavaScript Thursday? That would just make my life a lot easier. If we could do it on Thursday night. And I know Nan asked about that too. So that's why...
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if it'll cause any angst with the Python Thursday people.
Okay, looks like Oliver, you are already involved with Python Thursday.
But I've gone in a couple times and trolled them and asked them what's Python, who you that, stuff like that. So.
All right. Well, I discourage trolling other code clubs. They are we're all in the same boat. I wouldn't want them to troll us. So okay. Well, if Python is awesome, that's great. Yeah, I'm a Rubyist. I hear it's a lot like Python, but I don't know anything about it. Um, well, if that's the only objection, no, not Friday, Monish. Like I have, I want to have a social life too. Um, okay, so Oliver, let's connect later. I do want to see if other people have any challenges there. There are ways you can stay involved with JavaScript without necessarily coming to these meetings, and you can catch up on we're going to be doing on-air, so you can catch up on them afterwards. So I'd like to talk to you about that. For right now, I'm going to say tentatively we'll do it on Thursday next week, but I'll broadcast that to everybody, and I'll be posting an on-air link as soon as it's locked down, so you can all add it to your calendars. So that was just a little bit of business I wanted to take care of, more or less up front. As for the project, another thing we discussed last week was that we wanted to, for our next project, use React to build a front end for an API. And the challenge for folks was think about some APIs that we could use, and what are some projects we could build on them. Yes, sorry, Oliver. It's true. That's Vulkan, right? I won't force Python to move to Tuesdays. So I'm curious, what were some ideas that people came up with for our React project? Because I would like to decide on a project tonight and start sketching out some tasks and then setting a timeline for ourselves. Because when we did the initial Hangman project, we started it without a real sense of the timeline, and it just kind of stretched on forever, and we didn't really know when we were done. So I would like to not repeat that mistake. So hopefully we can get some real scheduling thought out tonight and some deadlines for ourselves and that sort of thing.
What do you think is a fair timeline to do a group project? 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 4 weeks?
I was going to suggest 6 weeks, like a month and a half. We could do 8. I mean, it depends. I mean, I know everyone else has work. This isn't a full-time job for any of us. So 8 weeks, 2 months could be reasonable. We could shoot for end of October. But I did want it to be contained. We can talk about that later, but I wanted to put that idea out there ahead of time. So, also, some of you posted resources to React, React Learning resources to the chat. Thank you for that. Once we have a project, I'm going to put those in a README in the GitHub profile, probably, so that people will know where to get started, more or less. So let's hear it. Like, does anyone have anything that they want to work on? Oh, Quandle. Oh, I like Quandle. They've got a lot of really interesting stuff. Stock pricing and that sort of thing. I feel like we could do a lot with charts and graphs with this one. Is that what you had in mind, Oliver? D3, that's right. We all wanted to learn D3.
I don't know if I said this last week, but now there's more people this week. What I suggested was, because this is common in the job environment, either do something that generates an API and consumes an API, because it's common. Maybe not as much generates an API, because if we're focusing on React, it's more front end. But just something that consumes an API, whatever it is, and then you guys can integrate not only React for the front end, but probably other resources like D3 for grafting in a click, here's the data, and let's make a graph of that type scenario.
Yeah, so we could do like stock data. I mean, we could have a search for a stock and chart the trading history of it. I don't know if anyone's interested in that. I mean, I worked in finance for a long time, so I think it'd be cool, but it might not be everyone's favorite thing. Yeah, I mean, Alexander says +1 to API comment. I think that is what we were thinking is creating an API would be probably tricky with just a front-end framework, but that we were going to build in front of. And I think we could also try, whatever we do, we can probably add social media integrations, which are hitting like Facebook and Twitter APIs as well. Oh yeah, this Mapbox thing, I do remember that posted, although I guess Monica is not here tonight. But does anyone have ideas for like what we would build on top of it? Because I do love maps, but I don't know what we need to map something.
Bacon locator.
Bacon locator. There's a restaurant chain here in San Francisco that has a hot cookie radar on their website, where every time they take a batch of cookies out of the oven, they like post it on a map on their hot cookie radar. I think it's pretty funny. I don't know that we want to build something real time necessarily, although we could try.
I think that would add a little bit of complexity to it, and that might block some of the newcomers.
Yeah.
So, and us.
Right. Right. Nan, can you expand on your cat's idea? No, it's a dumb joke. Okay. So, okay, well, so if no one's, leaping with ideas, let's all take a look at that Quandl link that Oliver posted. I mean, a stock grapher is maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but it will give us all practice with charting and hitting the API and having different routes and views, and however React organizes it. I'm thinking in Angular right now, like some of us probably also are.
Dan?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, I'm not sure how much of it would actually be feasible. Something like if people are interested in finding, code newbies around their area, so maybe using maps for a code newbie kind of a locator. I'm not sure how it's going to actually work out. Just a random thought.
Okay. I mean, I like it in general. I don't know enough about working with like Google Maps, for instance, to say, like, I don't want my exact location on a public map.
Okay.
I don't know how like fuzzy you can make it. Does anyone have any idea how that would work? Like, we could do.
Yes, you can make it fuzzy. I do know that.
Okay. Things like.
Yeah, you can draw like a circle to see how big the fuzziness is, and say, "This is my circle."
Okay. Is there also a way to do maybe just by metro area? So
Sure. Yeah.
people in the Bay Area could all be in one bucket, and we can all find each other that way.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention before we get too far in this, there's also a similar service that another code newbie is working on called Program in Person. I did talk to him. He does not have an API for his service.
Okay. I know. Yeah, Joe is super cool, but I haven't played with Program in Person at all because I have so much programming in person going on in my real life that I don't need to use his service to find any. But I'm sure it's helpful for a lot of other people. Cool. Well, I do like the mapping idea, and I also like that it's essentially provides every code. It's a little meta. What are other people's thoughts about these two ideas? We'll just compare them side by side. Doing like a stock chart kind of app using the Quandl API, or generating some sort of like code newbie map product.
Well, here's the thing I would say: with less experience, the more complex the project is, the less likely you will meet a 6 to 8 week timeline.
Which one do you think would be less complex?
Maybe the stock.
Okay.
But
stocks are meh.
People want to do more advanced stuff too, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on complex. You can make it as complex and or simple as you want. I mean, with the stock app, I mean, we were talking about D3 and Angular. I mean, you could throw as many things in there as you want, and you could do the same thing with Mapbox. I think the stock app would be cool just because you get the chance to work with all those different libraries that I know we're all, and frameworks that we're all interested in and looking into as well. It just depends on if we want to focus specifically on React and really honing in on our React skills, or if we want to sort of be more broad and go across the board with things like D3 and Angular for those who haven't had as much experience in that. I know I don't have any experience in hardly any of those, so it just depends on what everybody else wants to do. I'd be fine doing that, though. I think it'd be a cool idea.
Okay. Cool. Well, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing in our discussion, and also seeing in the chat, is that a lot of people are sort of like lukewarm about the stock picker idea. And can we come to a consensus pick on the map thing? I feel like that's going to be more just generally agreeable to people.
Yeah, the map works for me.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Code Newbie Date. Make it like a real website.
Like date? Like, did you say Code Newbie Date?
Yeah, you could do something like that.
I don't know. I don't think we want to be
Farmers only. What is it called? Coders only.
No, I think we should avoid any sort of like romantic or sexual angle. I just like just keep it above the belt.
Location-based services. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much the programming in person, does this, but I mean, you could have sort of a general map app to show local Code Newbie meetups, or branching beyond that, just like general code meetups in your specific area or in a certain metro area.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder.
So, all right, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna get a Trello board ready, and then I'm going to share it on my screen. I'm changing the name from React Project TBD to Code Newbie Mapper. Delete that one. Archive this list. Closing. Close that. And this. And now I will share this screen so here's a Trello board. So what are some ideas for, I heard some people start brainstorming stuff. I want to make sure we capture it all. So what are some ideas for things that this map can do?
I just looked into meetup.com, and it looks like they have an API that front-end services can consume. So I have to do a little bit more research on that, though.
Okay, so Code Newbie friendly meetups in your area. And then we wanted like Code Newbies mapped by metro area, fuzzy locations for privacy, because that is my bugbear right there. And of course, only voluntary people signed up. So, what were some other things we would like to build here?
Maybe the ability to message people, because you want to do the meetup. Hey, I'm available to meet up. You gotta contact the person. And then if you send them a message, maybe a notification system that sends an email.
Okay, so email notices.
Areas of interest. maybe by language or other tech or framework or whatever you're interested in.
We can all sign up for React. That's a good one.
I had an idea of an app that, I mean, I've always kind of wanted to just do it for practice, but it might be something cool to do here with the map. Just sort of it's like a random restaurant picker app. Reason being is, a lot of times, like, girlfriend and I will want to go somewhere to eat, and there's a lot of places in Indianapolis to eat, and we can't pick. So, just use Yelp or some other API that has access to local businesses, restaurants. Click a button, it brings up whatever the restaurant is and maps it, and then maybe it'll give you reviews from, say, Yelp or something like that of what that restaurant is like. If you want to make it even more complex, you could say, well, I want to find a random Italian restaurant, or I want to find a random, sports bar or something.
Okay. So, well, how do we make that relevant to Code Newbies? Is it like randomly select a coffee shop to meet in public and code together? I want to keep it on topic. That's
okay.
An idea, but I want to keep it on topic.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an idea. Like, either coffee shops or local. I'm losing.
The library. I like coding at the library, although it's
library or like co-working spaces.
Okay, that's a good one. I like that. I feel like Yelp. We can hit Yelp's API on that one. Any other little product ideas we want?
Was wondering if somehow we could consume the Twitter API. We are having this Code Newbie chat every week, and there's a lot of useful information that comes out of it, especially like some of the tweets which get a lot of stars or retweets. Having that kind of a feed somewhere where people can keep looking at it if they miss the chat or just as a future reference, having it all at one place, like for every week. How would that sound?
Yeah, well, Saran at least used to storify the chats. I don't know if she still does that.
I think so.
No? Yeah?
I think so.
Okay. What I do want to avoid is us trying to recreate the Code Newbie site. So she's got stuff up there that she links to the chats, she links to her own podcasts. I don't think we need to duplicate that stuff. This is more of like a tool for newbies to see each other and get in touch, right? Am I conceiving of this correctly?
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
One question is, how crazy can we go with like server-side stuff? I assume that we're trying to avoid that and stay towards like front end. I might be jumping to conclusions on that, but like the Twitter API, if we were to use that, I think you can only do that through a server, and so that would require at least some back-end technology. What are our goals with that?
First of all, I'm pretty sure you can hit an API from, well, I know you can do it from Angular without anything on the back end. Someone correct me if that's not also true of React.
I don't know about React, but I think the only thing that you wouldn't be able to do would be something that requires something like Firebase, where you have a synchronous, where the data is available synchronously, so that or ACE, whichever it is, or it goes back and forth. So Twitter, you wouldn't be able to get a live Twitter feed, but you would be able to, that you could interact with, but you could get one, I'm thinking, just that would list the tweets. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, I think we could have people log in with Twitter.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because if we need, we need a login. We need someone else to handle that because
That's true.
you need
You're
a back end if you have real like members on your site. All right, so do we want to? I feel like we should start small, and this Code Newbies mapped by metro area is probably a good place to go. And then we can, other people let me know what you think, but then we could build the meetups piece on top of that once we know where people are, and maybe build in a little messaging service that, I'm going to put a note here, like Twitter DMs through API, because we're going to have to do everything through APIs, right? So it's got to be something. Oh, Jeremy is talking in the Slack. Twilio. Oh yeah, I have used, or is it Twilio? Can someone correct my pronunciation? I've heard both. Using client-side JavaScript. Okay, yeah. You do have to have it running on a server somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a complex server. For instance, when I'm working with Angular, I can fire up a Ruby server and access it on localhost, and that's fine. Thank you, though, Jeremy.
But that means everybody that was using that application would have to download the application. You know what I mean?
No, it just means we have to find a place to host it. But it's not. But it's not a complicated hosting needs.
Yeah.
This I'm gonna be high priority. Does that sound like a good general strategy? We'll start with the Code Newbie mapping first, and then integrate the Meetups API, and then after that we'll figure out maybe what our next step is. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and look you all in the eye.
Works for me.
Let's put it this way. The one thing is we can build a map, and in the process of building the map, you can say, let's go a different direction with this map, and you still have the map.
Yes, that's a very agile way of thinking.
I like it.
Cool. Okay, what did I miss in the chat while I was sharing my screen? Yelp, restaurant idea, coffee and beer, maps, happy hours with restaurant. Awesome. Okay, actually, there's one really cool bar here in San Francisco that hosts a JavaScript meetup once a week, which I think is very cool. It's like a bar, just has a JavaScript meetup. Libraries, RESTful APIs, front-end accessible, yes. Oh, now I'm not sure which pronunciation of the...
Twilio.
It's Twilio? Okay, cool.
I have a
Thank
question, which is, I don't know that much about React, but are we taking into account what React is good at from those who do know something more about React?
That is not a question I can answer. Who knows something about React and can tell us? Nobody, I guess. We have a lot of work to do.
That's the point of this.
I thought, but a bunch of people said they were reading up on it and taking tutorials over the week. I thought at least you could have some semi-informed input.
Now I know how to use a little bit of it, but I have no idea what it's for.
Okay, cool. So I feel like this has been a bit of a success. I mean, we at least have a good idea of where we want to get started working. We don't necessarily know how to do it yet. I'm going to put together a GitHub repo and the README. Jesse, I'm going to mute you because I was getting some echo. That's better. I think Code Newbie is Farish. Firebase for database to the back end. Cool. Rashida, I think I did add you to the repo right before the call started, so you should have an invitation.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So the thing about this was another thing I wanted to talk about. On GitHub, it's cool because for the last project, I was just adding people to a team called JavaScript Tuesday team or something like that. So now when I start the new repo, I can just attach everybody, so that's easy. But Trello's weird, and I was just attaching people to the project board, so now I need to figure out organization. So I might direct message some of you to get email addresses and stuff so that I can add you to the Trello organization that I started, just so, like, look out for that. Cool. So those are my to-dos. Get the GitHub repo started. Put resources that you have shared in the README for that repo, and but I think we still have a lot of work to do in terms of figuring out how React works, how we can all work together using React, and then what our specific tasks are to get this CodeNewbie map up and running. Does anyone have anything they want to add to that? Oh, Oliver, you posted a link. Cool. I will read this. Ah, my page is doing all kinds of crazy things. Where do you all go? There we go. Cool. So it feels a little early to just wrap. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about related to the project? Or oh yeah, Monish is reminding me that there are 2 PRs we could potentially merge for the Hangman project. Monish, you want to tell us a little bit about what you did there, and then we can merge them in and show everyone who's new and all the kind of people watching on air the Hangman project and how it worked?
Sure. Okay. I'll just open up the application. So this is basically how it looks. Actually, if you want to see it in your browser, we could even do that. I remember Dan sharing a tool that we could use for this.
Oh yeah, I can. I'll just do the GitHub preview. I gotta get it up on GitHub pages for Saran too.
Cool. Sure. Thanks. So the basic idea of the game. I mean, I hope all of you are aware about what the Hangman game is all about.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. So.
Cool. Okay. Nan, I think even you could add on to this. This is something you had built, the initial introduction model. So the idea is we're just introducing any user to the game as to how to get started with the game. And
are you screen sharing? Because I don't see.
I'm sorry. Sure.
Thanks. There's a live link to the game in the chat window if you want to play with that.
Can you all see my screen?
No, I can't. There we go.
No?
Yep.
Cool. So I'll just start from the beginning. So this is the initial model that you'll see once you hit the Hangman game in the browser. It's an introduction that says how do you get started with playing the game. And it's every time, say, if you choose a wrong letter, the Hangman keeps adding on. I mean, the images which actually end up showing the Hangman. and we have a graveyard where we are just populating the wrongly guessed letters. If you guess the correct letter, it'll come up in the fill in the blanks. So, anybody wants to take some guesses?
Q.
Cool.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. So there is a small hack to this actually. If you want to see what is the actual word, we didn't maybe go about actually trying to see how we could stop that. So if I just do the current word, it says it's bean. So yeah, that's the word actually.
you can literally just
So-
ask your console what is the word you're trying to get.
Yes, that's that. So the thing with the current implementation in the master branch is I could still continue with the game even after I have lost. So I can just hit click outside, the modal closes, and I can still continue the game, which should not be allowed. And that's basically which is a bug which had to be fixed. And I worked on that. And the same thing happens even if you win the game. So I'm just restarting the game from the beginning, and the word is up. So yeah, so you win the game, and again you can actually continue, which should not be allowed. So that basically was what was fixed in the PR. So that's one pull request, and there was some code cleanup which has to be done, which I have added in another pull request. I could go through the code as well. I just had one question at this point. Do we need the lose life feature? I think Dan would know more about it. Or maybe we could discuss that offline.
We don't necessarily. I think we meant to implement it as, wasn't that supposed to be like an all or nothing, guess the whole word and get double points, but then we never implemented points. We could probably do without it if it's troubling you.
I mean, yeah, I was just like, wanting to clean it up if you're not like using it, and if it would confuse users as to why it exists.
Yes, good point. So
Yeah.
was that the second pull request?
I haven't actually cleaned up the lose life thing. I've just cleaned up some code, basically. So I could maybe update that pull request and get that merged sometime later. But basically, it doesn't do much.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. If you want to pull it out.
Sure.
So feel free
I could go over my pull request and just briefly summarize the changes made, and maybe I could even check out that branch where it shows the game is actually working, as in you would not be able to continue the game after winning or losing. So do you want me to go over switching to that branch and showing it how it works?
Yeah, that'd be great. We could actually talk about JavaScript on JavaScript Tuesday and not just projects.
Cool, sure. So I'll just get started with it on the terminal. All right. So I'm on the cleanup branch. I'll head up to the branch which disallows a user to continue the game after winning or losing. Right, I'm on that branch.
Okay.
So pretty much the same game. So I'm going to lose on purpose. Yeah, so basically now it's a close and reset button. And there is no cross mark on the right top corner of the modal. And there is no only close and reset button as two separate things. There was actually only a close button earlier. So I've basically made the close and the reset as one button. And even if I click outside or if I hit the escape button, I'm not able to actually escape the modal. Only if the user refreshes the browser or hits the close and reset button will the user be able to restart the game or play it from the beginning.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool. So the basic code around that was not much. In Bootstrap model, if you have to disable a user from escaping, quitting the model from clicking outside or from hitting the escape button, you need to add this part to the code where you say data backdrop is static and data keyboard is false, and you should be good to go with that. So that basically summarizes how to implement this if you're using Bootstrap. So if I hit close and reset, you're good to play all over from the beginning. And now for the correct guess. It's how, okay.
I guess to answer Oliver's question, there has been no fix to the console hack.
Yeah, the console hack has not been fixed. I mean, it's just something that's still there as of now. So yeah, the game is reset if you have won, and again, it's showing up a new word. So yeah, that's basically what the PR is all about.
Great, thank you for doing that. I like that you've continued on with Hangman even after everyone else kind of decided it was kind of over. But you're doing some really interesting work there, and thank you. So yeah, feel free to send in that pull request. Jesse's asking, can we wrap the code in a closure, or will it break things? I was thinking you could use some sort of module pattern to hide the current word. Off the top of my head, I don't know how we would implement it in our code base, but that is one thing we could do.
Yeah, even I'm not quite sure about it, but yeah, maybe if somebody wants to take this up as a task in the Hangman game, it would be great because it'll make the game even more complete.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to keep working on that and submitting pull requests, you are welcome to. Reach out to Monish, I guess, if you want to understand the code base, because he certainly knows it the best.
Yeah, to some extent I do, yeah.
Cool.
That's it from
yeah, Monish, feel free to merge those pull requests whenever you get the chance, and
Sure.
add some more if you want. One thing that I was reminded of watching that is what is everyone's comfort level with Git? Because we need to know how to use Git as a team. And for the last project, at least, we did. Jesse says, "Oh dear, sure." Saran came in and did some orientation. I think she is planning to do another one of those meetings. I need to get the exact date and time. I'm not sure it was settled. But so if people want Git orientation, I know the Codemy community provides us those opportunities, and at some point, I think there will be a Hangout on air of a Git presentation that we can just have as a resource. Okay, so Jesse is scared. Oliver never worked on a team project. Rashida could use a refresher. Yeah, so honestly, I think using Git is the learning to use Git is like the single biggest sort of like employability skill in a lot of ways, because you have to learn how to share branches share work with other people in this very strange kind of way. Monish says he's willing to help people on the project with Git. Thank you. And I certainly am as well. I'm not like great at it, but I have done the rebasing workflow and that sort of thing. So Jeremy says he's on the desktop version, but rough on the command line. Yeah, learning command line is so powerful. I haven't ever used the desktop version, although I know GitHub tries to make it fairly straightforward. Code School has the first lesson free. Oh, thank you. Cool. So that's one thing I wanted to put out there. If it turns out that there is going to be another presentation, like it might be one of those Saturday discussions that Jay Miller has been organizing, I will be sure to post the link in the JavaScript Tuesday/Thursday chat so that you all know it's happening. Because it'd be great for people to get refreshed kind of before we really get rolling. Catherine posted a link. Try github.io. Okay, yeah, I remember doing this. This was very good introduction to using Git. It's less, as I remember, team focused, more just like managing your own workflow, but that's a good place to start if you don't know any Git. Cool. Oh, and Code School. Are these the same link? I don't know. Cool. Anything else folks want to talk about? Okay. So I feel like all of our to-dos for next week are to read up on React, and then when we get together, we need to break out our sort of product goals into user stories and assign them out to people so folks can get started working. After next week's meeting, I want people to be working on this stuff. And if you have ideas for how it could work as you're learning React, take notes on those, do a little spike out the code, and share it with us next week. I'd love to see some React already built, even if it's not our final product. Are we doing TDD? If people know, Nan says no. I would say if you know how to do testing in JavaScript or testing with whatever testing framework React uses, by all means, go TDD. I don't think we can make it a requirement for the project, only because a lot of people don't know it, aren't comfortable with it. I will say, having learned RSpec, that it's like learning an entirely different language. So if people are trying to learn JavaScript, I don't want to force them to learn some other testing framework as well. So I certainly wouldn't make anyone do TDD. If you want to do TDD or write tests for other people's code in a non-test-driven fashion, you're welcome to. I would love to see that, but it's not going to be a mandatory part of the project. Good question. Nan, what is your instant aversion to TDD? Is there more there that you want to share?
Well, I guess there's two things. One is that my impression is that it's more like while coding for JavaScript than testing first with JavaScript. Maybe works better with Ruby than it does with JavaScript. But the other thing is, quite frankly, I'm not very good at it, and I feel like it's another language that I haven't learned very well. So that's just my problem, and it would be good for me to. It would certainly be good to learn to get comfortable with it.
Sure. Well, if you have a branch and you know a little, for instance, I know Angular has a testing framework that I've played around with a very tiny amount. I don't know if the same one we can use for React, but yeah, if anyone wants to learn writing tests, this is a great opportunity. You can share your tests with the rest of the group during these meetings. We'd love to see it. Using TDD with React. All right, I'm going to capture all of these resources for the README, so we have them. Cool. Why React is awesome. I already saw that one. All right. So, yeah, anyone else have anything they want to talk about? I don't like to just end these abruptly because I feel like it should be a discussion, but then if people aren't leaping forward to discuss things, then we can close it down. Jesse asked, will we be doing any server-side code, or are we focusing on front-end exclusively? I think we decided just to focus on React and building front-end stuff. If you have a way to incorporate something on the back end, let me know. But I don't want to make people learn multiple frameworks. So that's my answer to that. Alexandra asks, are you slacking the Trello/new repo? Yes, good question. I will post that to the Slack channel as soon as I get it up, which shouldn't take too long. And I will also configure the new Trello and add as many of you as I can locate. And if I can't locate you, I will DM you to ask for your email. So Monish asks, are we planning to decide the exact project idea by next week? I kind of thought we had the product in the sense that we want to build a map for code newbies that will eventually at least incorporate meetups that might be of interest and possibly other ways for people in similar locations to get together. Is that not specific enough of a project idea? Or, okay. Cool.
Do we know if with this moving to Thursdays, assuming, are we going to keep the same time?
Yes, it would still be at 6 Pacific or 9 Eastern or whatever's in the middle. Indiana, you got weird time zones in Indiana, right? Like sometimes you're in one and sometimes you're in another.
Well, they finally kept it so we're basically just Eastern time.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. It's everyone's favorite time zone.
Win for everyone.
Yeah, so it would be the same time of day, but on Thursdays.
All right, cool.
Catherine says best time zone. Spoken like a true New Yorker, Catherine. That's right. It would be not this Thursday, not next Tuesday, but next Thursday. And yeah, I will post that on Slack. Oliver, if you still want to chat, DM me after we sign off and we can chat about how you can stay involved even if you can't necessarily make it to the meetings. And I'll talk to Philip on Thursday too, and we'll fight over you. Okay, cool. No worries, I'll still be involved. That's great to hear. Any last things? All right. I think that's it for tonight.
Don't forget to stop the broadcast.
I will do that. Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye now.